to my channel. My name is Karlie. This is a space where we generally talk about knitting related things, and sometimes we talk about other things like sewing or natural hand dyeing. Today we have a lot of knitting to go through, some finished items, some WIPS, and some future plans that I have. Before we get started, because without fail I always forget, I'll start with what I'm wearing. So today I am wearing the Helianthus Tank by Andrea Gaughan Knits. I knit this as a test knit last May, I believe. And I knit it in Ritual Dyes Undyne in the color Slate. I did the size 1, I think, and I'm also wearing it over top of my Romney gather dress from Sew House 7 that I just recently finished, and it is by far my favorite sewn item that I've ever made, and I can't wait for this to be a spring/summer staple in the coming months. I am just so excited that it's almost springtime, and so I'm already breaking out the spring wear. I love this dress so much. It's got a gather right here. I usually wear it without anything on top and belt it with a thick belt. It goes down to about my mid calf, and it's got these beautiful bell gathered sleeves here. And another thing we can address before we get started is that everything that I mentioned today will be linked down below to either my Ravelry project page or the project page itself if I haven't made the project yet. So let's get started with some finished objects. We will start with one that has been on my needles the longest, and that is the weekend hat by Petite Knit. And so I wanted to knit this up for my boyfriend. He wears toques all the time, and he is definitely a knit-worthy person in my life. So I picked out the pattern, he approved, and then I dyed up some yarn for him. Naturally dyed yarn, and it was using tree materials to dye the yarn, and I marled 2 colors together. He is in urban forestry for his job, and he is very passionate about anything tree related, so I thought this was the perfect match for him. So here is the hat. It's got a beautiful subtle marl. You can see it's got this like slate gray that has hints of purple in it, paired with this toffee brown. Here's the crown. And any of you that aren't familiar with this hat, it is a double folded hat, so it is extremely long. And it has sections of double knitting here so that the hat knows where to fold and it kind of falls into that place. I have not blocked this yet, so it's not really following the guidelines of that double knit section. So that's a bit annoying to me. I don't think my boyfriend notices it at all, but sometimes, like as you can see, it's already lifting up and folding in, but just below the double knit part. And it does that on this other section as well. So that's annoying, but if I were to block it, I'm thinking that might help it a bit. And then once it's just about drying, kind of like still damp, I could fold it and just like press it down and really get it to form into that and dry into that shape. But for now, it's okay. Like I said, he doesn't care, he doesn't notice it. I do, but that's just because I'm the maker behind it. So as you can see, when it's being worn, you can see the double knit part here. And that is just the part that kind of drives me a little mad, but it's okay. It could be a lot worse, and it looks really great on him. It suits him so well, and I cannot wait to make him more hats because he wears this so much. I've only been done for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. I finished it just after the last podcast episode I put out, which was about 3 weeks ago, and he's already worn, he wears it every day. So that makes me really happy. I think we can all agree as a knitter, when you spend a lot of time and effort into something, and the recipient wears it to death, it makes you really happy, especially since I've dyed the yarn as well. It's just kind of like two gifts in one, and I'm very pleased with it, and I think he looks so great in it. So not much else to say about this project. It's pretty simple. It's just a 1x1 ribbed hat from the bottom up, and I enjoyed it. It was really nice. I would make it again, probably not for a long time because I was getting a bit sick of the 1x1 rib for such a long hat, but I liked it and I would definitely make myself one, or maybe even some kid-sized ones for my niece and nephew. My next finished object is also a hat. This is one that I cast on December 12th and I finished just the other day. So I originally wanted to have this done for an event that I was going to in December, but I ended up getting sick, so I put it away for a while because I couldn't go to the event anyway. I recently picked it back up because I was sick of looking at it and seeing how beautiful it was half done, and I just wanted it to be done and off the needles. So this is the Kuutar Beret by Sari Nordlund. And I knit this in Linares Alma. It's a DK weight yarn and it's in the color Honey Pie. This is hand-dyed yarn from LA that my boyfriend got me last year. Here's the underside. I am wearing my hair up today, so I won't put this on, but I'll put pictures of myself wearing it. And a few things about this hat. So you start in the center and you work your way down to the brim. It kind of, when you're working it up, it definitely looks like a beanie style hat. It doesn't have that beret shape at all, but the thing about this is you block it in a dinner plate so it can get that classic beret style. So I'll put up pictures as well of me blocking it in a plate. Sorry if you heard that, I just got a text coming through and I thought that I muted everything, apparently not. So sorry. Okay, where was I? So I'm not really sure where I was. But the thing with this hat is I definitely needed to keep stitch markers in between each lace repeat. That was the only way I could really keep track as to where I was in the lace, and it made it a lot easier for me to set down and pick back up if I needed a break in between rows or anything like that. So I highly recommend that if you haven't made this yet, or any of the Kuutar patterns or a lace pattern in general. It really helps me keep on track. And at first I didn't add those stitch markers between each repeat, and it definitely screwed me up. I had to add them later on and it made it so much easier. It's not that it's difficult, it's just pretty easy for me anyways to lose track when I'm doing lace. It's really hard for me to read like a chart or words on a page and for my eyes not to jumble everything up. So if you're similar in that way, highly recommend the stitch markers in between each lace repeat. It just really simplifies things. The hat is just so beautiful. It has like a flower in the middle and then this delicate, beautiful lace. It has a lot of twisted stitches in there, so near the end my hands were getting pretty tired, and especially with this brim it was all twisted or half twisted rib. And I did lengthen the brim just because I was looking at the project pages on Ravelry, and for my style of beret that I like, I wanted the brim to be a bit longer. I didn't want the beret to sit back on like the crown of my head back here. I wanted it to sit here, kind of have some more coverage here, so I could also cover my ears if I wanted to wear this on a cooler day, and it could have some functionality as well, other than just like looking pretty, which is fine too, but I do live in a colder climate, so I wanted it to have some warmth to it. So I added quite a bit of length to the brim, and it also suggested to go down a needle size for the brim. I did not do that. I know I'm a very tight knitter. I didn't gauge swatch for this, I just ran with it. So I didn't go down a needle size for the brim. I maintained the same needle size, and I actually went up a couple needle sizes for the I-cord bind off, because just from seeing other podcast episodes and other project pages, I saw that it looked a little tight, or like not too tight for the people but wearing them, but they were more fitted back here, and like I said, I wanted mine to fit here so it could cover my ears. So I was very aware as to how tight I was doing the I-cord bind off, and it did go up a couple needle sizes for that, and it fits really well. I'm so happy I decided to follow my gut on that and go up a needle size. And it is perfect. I'm very pleased with it. Berets are tricky, and I think a lot of people find this with berets is that it's kind of hard to style. And for me, I used to wear berets quite a lot. I used to wear like the felted wool berets, and I recently gave my yellow felted wool beret over to a friend because I just found that that style of beret didn't fit my personal style very well anymore. And I was looking for a beret that would kind of match how I feel my style is now. And I thought that the Kuutar Beret was a perfect one to start with, and I think it is much more me when I wear it. The thing is with berets for myself, it's just a confidence thing and getting more comfortable with wearing something like that. And I do love it. I love looking at it when I'm not wearing it. I put it on and I love it for like a second, and then I question myself. And I think the key is to just start wearing it, get used to it, get comfortable in it, and act confident. And then the confidence will come along with it, I think. That's my plan anyway. And hopefully I actually start to wear it out and feel comfortable doing that. So if I find that I am wearing this out often and it was worth my time and effort, then I think I'm definitely going to cast on another lace beret in the future. Probably not anytime soon, just because my hands need a break from this intense lace, but I do love the look of them. And like I said, if I do find that I am wearing it quite a bit, I would love to have a couple in my wardrobe for rotation, and maybe even some other fun colors, or like a bright color one would be fun, a statement beret, and then some more neutral ones would obviously be perfect to have in my wardrobe too. So that is the Kuutar Beret. It really made me want to knit the Kuutar socks by Sari Nordlund. It's a pair of socks in a similar lace, or the same lace pattern as these. Like I said, my hands just need a little bit of a break from all of this lace pattern. So I plan to cast those on in the future, but not anytime soon. My final finished object for this episode is one that you haven't seen yet on here, but I have shared the plans with you all to make it. And that is the, what is it called? The Gallant sweater by Caidree, and it is the Aran Gallant sweater. She does have quite a few different Gallant patterns, and this is the Aran version. And I knit this using Juniper Moon Farm Beatrix in the color Jasper, and this was gifted to me from Knitting Fever. So here's the sweater, and yes, I know what you're all thinking, and I'm thinking it too. There is a clear line here of where I switched skeins. So I'll put up pictures on the side of me wearing it, and it's really funny because in the pictures of myself wearing it, you can't see this color line at all. In some light, it is very obvious, like today's light, and me showing it like on camera, I can see that it is extremely noticeable and visible. But when I took the finished object photos, you couldn't see it at all, and I didn't do any editing to the sweater color or shadowing or anything. So it's just kind of one of those things, and the rest of the sweater is perfectly fine. I think I used about 4 or 5 balls of yarn for this, and as you can see, everywhere else is fine. You can't see any color change at all. It was just this first ball. And I was actually working on it in a dark lit room at the time, at nighttime, and when I switched over, I couldn't notice it at all. It wasn't until the next day in like pure morning daylight that I could really notice it. And I was too far past, done all the raglan increases and split for sleeves and all that, worked a little bit on the body, that there was no way I was going back to fix it, and I'm learning to live with it. I'm also wondering if I were to block it again, cover everything that's below this color line here, and then like with a towel or something, and then put the rest of it to dry in the sun for a little bit. I might try that just because this one is a lot darker, and maybe that will lighten it up a bit. If it doesn't, that's okay. I'm actually not too bothered by it. The color change does hit about right here. So I found that that's not a too bad placement for a color change. At least it's not like a right across my boobs or anything, and it's kind of right above them. So in some ways it can look intentional. That's not the look I was going for by any means, but I'm happy to live with it if nothing can be done, and that's okay with me. So back to the sweater construction. This was top down, easy raglan mock neck sweater. Definitely recommend if you're new to garment knitting and you kind of want to branch out and start knitting sweaters, this is a great place to start. It is a mock neck and there's barely any ribbing in there, and it is so cozy and soft. It is just such a good feeling sweater to wear. It is very autumnal, I will say that, this sweater. I don't think I'll be getting much wear in the coming weeks or months as we approach spring. I'm very much looking forward to knitting with plant fibers and getting some brighter colors into my world. But when fall comes around, I'll very much be looking forward to wearing this sweater. It's also just a great sweater even if you are an experienced knitter. It's such a fun, like mindless sweater that you can kind of just cast on. It's a nice palette cleanser if you've done some like cables or color work and you want something a little more simple. This is a great one to do. This yarn also is so soft. It has a beautiful halo to it if you can see it. And I believe, let me get the ball band because I believe there's some Angora in this too. So here it is. This is Juniper Moon Beatrix. It's 54% merino wool, 30% Angora, and 16% nylon. So like I said, I think I said, this was gifted to me from Knitting Fever to make this Gallant sweater, and it is honestly like so soft. I can't get over it. So I'm expecting that this sweater will probably pill a lot because of how soft it is. I've only worn this about once or twice, so I can't speak to how it wears quite yet, but I'll definitely keep you all up to date on that. The nice thing about this is that it didn't roll. Like, I mean, I have blocked it, so I was able to lay it flat, but it's still not rolling. The collar is not rolling with this yarn, which is great. And you do I-cord bind off for the sleeve and the bottom hem as well. And nothing has been rolling up at all. It's like a good weight yarn for this type of project, for something that doesn't have any ribbing at all. I know they also have a ton of other really beautiful colors too. So like I said, this was a fairly simple knit, so I don't have too much to say. It was pretty smooth sailing. I did cast on for size 1. I did not gauge swatch for this, so I just cast it on for size 1. I split for sleeves when I thought the raglan depth was perfect for me. I did go way past the raglan increases for the size 1 because it was just way too small. My gauge, I'm assuming, was a lot tighter than Caidree's for this, so I probably did the raglan increases for like a couple sizes up. And then I tried it on and saw that it was perfect for like the sleeve, the shoulder, armpit depth, whatever that is, was perfect for me. And then that's when I split for sleeves and body, just because it was so simple and all you had to do is like add more increases if you needed to. That's what I went with. I didn't feel like I needed to gauge swatch for this. And with this one, I made it full length. I wanted a really cozy, warm sweater. So I wanted a full length, non-cropped sweater that won't let any air in. Like I said, I live in a colder climate. Come fall and winter, it gets very cold, and sometimes that cropped sweater just lets too much air in. So I wanted something that definitely comes past my hip bones. And let me back up here. My hip bones are here, and it goes a few inches past that. So it goes I would say it's like a perfect full length sweater. That is it for all of the finished object items for today's episode. I'm really trying to clear my needles at the moment. I have a lot of languishing WIPS on the go, and I'm sick and tired of that. I really want to clear everything off, have a clear headspace, have a fresh slate in front of me, and be able to thrive in creativity again and not have all of these older projects still lingering in the background. So that's been my priority. I have casted on new things along the way here and there, but my main goal is finishing up these random WIPs from a few months back, a year back even, along the way, and keeping those priority. So I'm hoping to follow that rhythm that I'm in right now, and we'll see how far I get with it. And hopefully I don't lose any steam along the way. I might have to cast on new things here and there just to kind of bring some excitement into crafting, which I'm totally fine with. That's what crafting is all about. And with that said, we'll go into WIPs, and this is actually a new WIP. So this is kind of one that's there to bring some excitement into making, and just kind of that new cast on feeling, you know, that we all know that feeling of a new project and how exciting it can be. So I showed you this yarn last time, and this was also gifted to me from Knitting Fever, and it is some more Juniper Moon, and it is Saxony in the color Feldgrau, which is color 105. And someone last time actually put in the comments that Feldgrau stands for field gray, I believe, in German. Hopefully I'm correct in saying that. So that was really cool. Thank you to whoever commented that. This is 75% cashmere, 25% extra fine merino wool, and it is this gorgeous, gorgeous green. You can see it has a lot of depth and different colors to it. Flecks of some brighter greens and some whites and gray and beiges. It's a really fun yarn. Super soft as well. So originally I was making a shawl that I kind of had my own design for, and for this shawl it requires a yarn with really good stitch definition, but this yarn wasn't it. As I was doing it, I couldn't really see the design elements that I was adding into this shawl, so I ripped back and I bought the Vigga Shawl and casted that on. Now that doesn't require too much stitch definition. It is a really simple garter stitch shawl with I-cord edging, and the main feature of this shawl is that it has scalloped edges. So here it is. I'm just at the beginning. I actually haven't worked on this in a couple weeks now, and I plan to pick it up soon after I finish the next WIP that I show you, but I am just loving this so far. Look at all the colors in there. Like, you can see, oh, here we go, here, that bright green, and then we've got some white there. And this scalloped edge is so fun. I'm hoping that when it comes time to blocking it, I can really accentuate the scalloped edges. It's also super soft, so I knew I wanted this to be something that I could wear close to my neck and it would not bother me. I think this is a really beautiful color too. It's a color but still like neutral enough that you can wear with a lot of other colors, and I think it'll go well with most of my winter, spring, fall, like all of my jackets. So I can't wait to have this one. It's really fun. I highly recommend if you're looking for something, especially if you've done a Sophie shawl or Sophie scarf or whatever they are, and you kind of want something with a little bit more design elements to it, then this is a great option just because of these scalloped edges here. So not a whole lot to say. I'm not that far. I'm excited to pick this back up very soon. I have to finish a pair of socks before I get back into this project. And I mean, this wasn't too much work. This was, you know, it goes by fairly quickly, and it is a perfect, just like TV knit. It's really fun. You do have to keep track of increases and decreases as it does gradually get larger, and this, you know, to keep track of how you do the scallops on the edge, but it's still like mindless enough that you can follow along a show or have a conversation with someone if you need to. Okay, next WIP. Do I only have one other WIP? That seems weird. Maybe I do. Okay, so I haven't shown these on here either, but my boyfriend was looking online the other day at a pair of socks that he really liked, a pair of purple and yellow socks with a cable design on the side, and I told him that I would make him a pair. So we've got one pair done already. Here they are. I love them so, so much. This is a self-drafted pair of socks. I started cuff down. I did 20 rounds of 1x1 rib. I think I did about 70-ish rounds for the leg. Did a slip stitch heel flapping gusset for him. I thought that would be the best fit, and just a regular toe. So the yarn is my own naturally hand-dyed yarn for the yellow, and then the purple is Brine Dye Works. I have the tag here for once. Brine Dye Works. It is the color Raleigh. They are based in Calgary, Alberta as well, and that's where I'm coming to you from, by the way. And this is their colorway Raleigh, and it is their 75-25 merino sock in the color Raleigh. My boyfriend and I have been admiring these socks a lot together. We were just saying that this is the perfect purple for like a perfect masculine purple, and that the yellow and purple just pair so well together. They're kind of like a very classic retro sock, we were saying, and I put some cable design on the front here. Let me get this. There we go. And that just goes down the whole top of the sock, all the way to the toe. So he's loving these, I'm loving them. I'm actually really enjoying working on them. It's been a nice break from other things. I really, really loved working on socks lately. And it's just, I never thought that I would become a sock knitter. I kind of thought, for sure I'm gonna get one done, never pick up another sock again, and only ever have one sock and never a full pair. But that has not been the case for me. I think that I'm quickly becoming a sock knitter, and I really love it. So I have this much done on the second sock. It does look quite different from this sock. This is blocked obviously, and this is not. A lot rolls in with this cable design, and then it fully blooms and just fills out the sock perfectly after it's been blocked. So I'm almost there. I have, let's see, 10 more rows exactly until I start the yellow toe. So I'm so close to being done. I can't wait to have these fully blocked ends woven in and everything and ready for him to wear, because I know he's so excited about these socks, and it makes me so happy. And it's also nice again to have another bit of my hand-dyed yarn in there incorporated into a project. It feels really special for me and for him too. So like I said, this is a self-drafted sock pattern. It's really simple and easy, nothing special. However, I do have a lot of sock designs that I've been writing down and swatching for and just in my brain, and I'm really looking forward to making some socks up in the near future with my hand-dyed yarn. And I'm not sure if those will be something that I write up a pattern for and put out into the world or get tested or anything like that. I think I'll knit them first and see how they look, see how they go, and then we'll go from there. But regardless, I'm very excited about my future sock knitting, and especially to use just some more of my hand-dyed yarn that I've been really loving experimenting with. So these socks will be done in the next day or two, and I'll definitely share them with you on the next episode. I'll also be posting all of my finished object photos onto Instagram, so I'll put my Instagram, handle up here. And if you want to stay up to date on any projects that I'm making, that is a great place to check them out. Okay, that's it for my active WIPs at the moment, which is crazy. Usually I have like 5 active ones on the go. Like I said, I have a lot of WIPs laying around, but I haven't worked on them enough for me to show on an episode, so they will come later. I do, however, have quite a few plans that I would love to discuss with you. I mentioned in my last video that I'm not a planning type of knitter. I don't like to plan for the upcoming season or year ahead. I've tried that before. My plans always change. It just doesn't fit for me. But I do have plans for very near future plans, I guess, and things that have been catching my eye, and I just kind of want to share them all with you. So let's start with something that I just started last night, and it's just a swatch, and there's like 4 rows. It's nothing crazy, but just to prove that I started a swatch here. It's such a lovely, beautiful green. It is, where's the, oh, here it is. Here's the ball of yarn. It is gifted yarn from Knitting Fever, and it is Elsebeth Judith Hempathy in the color Olive, and it is a blend of cotton and hemp. So I'm currently swatching right now for, I think it's called the Knus, I believe, Light pattern. I'll put up a picture here of the pattern that I plan to make. It is a circular yoke, all around textured shirt, and I'm so excited about it. I looked up on Ravelry the Hempathy yarn and then looked at projects that have been made in that, and someone did make a project, this particular pattern in the Hempathy, and it had the most beautiful drape and just looked so good on her body that I knew that that was the pattern that I had to make for this. So I'm really excited about that. I hope to cast this on in the next week or so once I get those socks done. Yeah, I think once I get those socks done, I might cast this on, and then I can work on this shirt and the Vigga Shawl as well. And those will be my 2 main items, I think. That's my tentative plan for the moment. But I am just so excited and ready for spring. I'm done with winter. I've talked about it before. I have a really tough time in winter. I hate winter. It's not a fun time for me. So thank God I have knitting in my life because it has improved that season for me. Anyway, thank God I have knitting in my life because it has improved this season for me so much more, and it's a lot more manageable to get through. However, I'm still very much looking forward to spring and what lies ahead. Spring is a magical time of year, in my opinion. Life starts to come back to the earth again, and colors appear, and butterflies and bugs and birds, all the beautiful things. So I'm very excited to get some fun color on my needles and to start working with some plant fibers again. So hopefully the next time I share an episode with you, that will have some progress on it to share. Another project that I'm very excited about, one that's probably not in the, maybe August or so is when I picture myself casting this on. We'll see. But I'll put the pattern up here. It's by Other Loops. I forget the name of the pattern itself, but it is a marled DK weight project using 2 fingering yarns. So I swatched for it. I did 2 color options, as you can see here. This is all my hand-dyed yarn. Up here, it's blush, is the pink paired with toffee. Down here is blush with, what is this called? I forget what that's called, but anyway, it's a light dusty green, dusty olive green. I'm leaning towards the top one. I would love to know your opinion on it. I love both of them, but I just find that this contrast is a bit more noticeable. And also with this pattern, it does use reverse stockinette, so it would be like this, and I find it's kind of hard to see any of the variation with this one, and a little bit more noticeable here. So that's what I'm leaning towards. Again, I would love your feedback. I do love this combination, but I think I might save it for another marled project, like maybe an Oslo hat. I have low battery on my phone, which I filmed this all on, so I'm gonna rush through here we'll go through a couple more projects that I have in mind, and then we'll call it a day. All right, so I think it's Wool and Beyond, and I'll put the pattern up on the screen here, but they have the most beautiful, cute jacket for a child, and I want to make one for my niece and then also be able to hand it down to my nephew after. So I was thinking of, it's DK weight yarn, I believe, and I was thinking of marling it. So the two main colors of the body would be this. And then the edging, it looks like an I-cord edging, would be this butter yellow. So all these three colors. And then my other project, also from Wool and Beyond, I believe, is this jacket that I'll put up here using more of my hand-dyed yarn. Oh, and the yarn I just showed also was my hand-dyed. And I've just been doing a lot of experiments, so now I have to knit them up and see how they look. And holding them double is a great way because it just gets all through a lot of my hand-dyed stash. So I have quite a few skeins of this worsted weight yarn that I naturally dyed myself quite a while ago. And this was kind of a project that I first did when I was getting into dyeing yarn. And I've been dyeing fabric naturally for quite some time, but not yarn. So this was about a year ago. I tried it out, didn't go too well because my pot was too small for the amount of yarn that I did. I've since learned, but I don't want this yarn to go to waste. So I'm thinking of doing this pattern because it is a honeycomb brioche stitch, I believe, which I haven't done before, but it does have a lot of depth to it. And I think that it would help kind of hide any of the irregularities, of what this yarn has. So here it is. It's kind of a weird tone. It had an iron modifier in it. But if I alternate the skeins and do a honeycomb brioche, I think that this yarn could work. Again, this is not yarn, this is just yarn that I've had laying around forever. I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm gonna try it out with this jacket. If it looks okay for the first little bit, I'll probably go ahead with it and just go from there. So I'm gonna end it there before my battery dies. Thank you all for sticking around for this long. If you have, I really appreciate it. Please give this video a thumbs up or a follow or a comment. It really goes a long way and it supports me and helps me so much. So thank you in advance, and thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you got some progress done on your projects, and if you weren't working on anything, I hope maybe you got some inspiration for some future videos. I am looking forward to speaking with you all next, and hopefully that's not too far away, and we'll talk soon. Bye.